Mr. Chatu has been instrumental in spearheading the nation's exploration initiatives. And NAMCOR, established under the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act of 1991, I'm sure there's been changes, but it's really wholly owned by government of the Republic of Namibia, and the corporation's mission really is to create value for all stakeholders, and as geopolitics ensure that we confront the challenges that we do. NAMCOR has strategic initiatives in place that will encompass upstream exploration, production, and downstream activities. So allow me to call him up to give you his presentation. Call him up with a warm round of applause. Mr. Chatu.
Thank you. Hello. I'm going to talk to you about the prospectivity of the Namibian Margin. My name is Antony Chatu. I'm a chief geoscientist at National Petroleum Corporation of Namibia. So my outline of the presentation, I'm going to show you the licensing status, companies that are operating in Namibia, NAMCOR participation in those licenses, the offshore Namibian database. Then I'm going to go through the sedimentary basins in Namibia, and the geological evolution and the petroleum system, and also how these came about through palaeogeographic reconstruction, and then the general prospectivities of the basin, and then I'm going to present some of the assets that NAMCOR operates. This is the license status of Namibia. We have 30 active exploration licenses, offshore and onshore Namibia. We have one production license, which is in the Kudu, although it's not yet producing. Currently, they are drilling another appraisal well there. And we have two reconnaissance licenses in blue there, onshore. And we also have a well currently being drilled by Recon Africa onshore Namibia. This is the participation of NAMCOR in all the licenses. So we always have 10 to 15% carried interest in all the exploration licenses that are issued, except maybe now PEL 37 here. That is the license where we are not in, but otherwise we are participating in all the licenses. Currently we have two exploration licenses that we are operating, PEL 79 and PEL 102. We recently, I think, farmed down to Chevron in there, in the Wavis Basin. So this is the offshore Namibia database that we have. You can see the extent of the 2D, although in some areas we have there is a sparse coverage, but we have quite an extensive 2D data set on the whole offshore margin. And we are busy negotiating with some seismic acquisition service companies. We will maybe soon have 2D cube products in offshore Namibia, where we think it will increase the prospectivity of the offshore basins. So if that is concluded, maybe by next year, we'll be able to show you some of these products. And for the 3D, as you can see, we are now, this is the Orange Basin where we have a lot of discoveries. This is the block that is operated by Total, and Shell is operating that. And the recent discovery of last month is in Pearl 85. So we expect more wells to be drilled, and one of the field, possibly maybe next year, the Venus field will reach FID. So development, we anticipate the development to start soon. As you can see, there is a potential. However, you can notice that in the Ludres Basin, we don't have a lot of data there, especially the 3D. That is because very few licenses have been offered in that block, and government will soon be opening these blocks. We currently, except if they change, they always use open licensing system. So you just submit your application, and then they review and award the application. So it is possible that this may change, and they might use bidding rounds, but that is yet still to be clarified by the ministry. So we have a total number of 48 exploration and appraisal wells. As you can see now, we have more wells which have been drilled in the Orange Basin due to the recent discoveries. These are the basins in Namibia. We have the Namibian Basin there in the north. Then just below the Wavis Ridge, we have the Wavis Basin. And then to the south of the Wavis Basin is the Ludres Basin. And to the extreme south is the Orange Basin. Onshore, we have the Owambo Basin and the Nama Basin. There's not too many activities right now onshore, except the recon drilling campaign process that is currently taking place. This is a summary of the geological evolution and petroleum system. So these basins formed as a result of the opening of the South Atlantic. It opened from south going northwards. I will show some cartoon in the next slide showing a summary of how this opening took place. So we have very excellent marine shells that forms a very excellent seal all over the margin, and good reservoir source rocks. So from the south going up to the Wavis Ridge, the stratigraphy of the margin is almost the same. It's not that different, except north of the Wavis Ridge due to the manner in which the opening of the South Atlantic occurred. So, and you can see that if you look in the central segment above these Florianopolis fracture zone, you can see that there are salt structure there, and down here in Namibia, there's no salt at all. No salt has been intersected in Namibia. We have the quality of the source rock. Somehow we have not yet understood what is controlling it, because, for example, if you are moving from east, we have good porosity and permeability there. In the middle, we tend to see very tight reservoirs, but when you go again further to the west, the permeability improves. So we are still trying to understand why is it like that. So that is, I'm describing what is happening now in the Orange Basin. So we have also a high quality source rock, especially the Upshen and the Cinnamonian source rock. What we have noticed that if you are in the Orange Basin proper, we hardly intersects the Cinnamonian source rock. So there is somewhere where we don't know whether this has been disturbed by the gravitational thrust system, or it was not just deposited at all in the Orange Basin, but immediately when you move to the north of the Orange Basin going into the Ludres, we intersect this CT source rock, and it is having a good organic matter, much better than even the Upshen source rock. So all discoveries have been made mostly in the early and late Cretaceous, in the basin floor fans and some channels. And we noticed that maybe it's due to the way this basin formed. It is younging from the south going to the north. So we see that the source rock in the south is mostly Barremian Upshen. As you go to the north, it is mostly Upshen going Albion. So it's not very, and if you go beyond the Walvis Ridge, we see that the city and the Upshen source rock are more closer together. In fact, you can map them as a single package. So this is a summary of how the opening of the South Atlantic opened. So we have the opening here. For example, if we go, the opening already started during the Barremian, but when you look at the late Upshen, you will see that somewhere here where we have the Walvis Ridge, it was closed. So this allowed for the deposition of salt somewhere there in the central segment. And then in the south here, there was some circulation of the ocean. So the salt was not able to be deposited in the south. That's why we see that most of the salt is deposited only in the central segment and not south of the Flalonoporous fracture zones. So this is another cartoon trying to show what was happening. This is, we have the separation southward here, while the north was closed. And after the Upshen, we see that this opened up and then there was circulation. However, the salt had already formed in the north of the FF zone, fracture zone, and then this deprived Namibia of the ancient salt that we see in other areas like Angola and Brazil. So we also observed that when this was opening, so this created accommodation space where we allowed more sediments to go into the Orange Basin during the early to late Cretaceous period. And more sediments, you find that the system switches at a later stage. We have more sediments being deposited in the Namib Basin as compared to the Orange Basin. So this created a slightly broader shelf in the south, especially the Ludres, Wavish, the Orange Basin, Ludres, and Wavis Basin. And you will see that these are more or less having the same structure when you look at it. And in the north, we have a narrow shelf, and then it deepens quite quickly in the Namib Basin. So, as I said, the way this opening took place, it accounts for the non-deposition of salt in the Namibian basins. This is one of the seismic cross-section in the Namib Basin, and we are now in the north. So this basin is also underexplored. We only have 2 exploration wells which were drilled there, and both wells were dry. And this section here accounts to what I was talking about, where you have you can map the Aptian, Cinnamonian, and Turonian packages of the source rock in the same. You can group them together because they are much more closer together. At this stage, there was very low deposition of sediments in the Namib Basin that was happening. We also have possible late Cretaceous post-reef classical interval with extensive channel complexes that can be mapped in this basin. And also there's a potential for the synleaf play. So, however, we need more companies to be active in this area. It is a challenging area. It gets quite deep very fast when you are in the Namib Basin. This is a snapshot of the Walvis Basin. It is located north of the Ludris Basin, immediately south of the Walvis Ridge. And this is the second most explored basin in Namibia. We have at least 12 exploration wells drilled there, with one well which was Wingat well, which had a technical discovery. So that block is the block which was owned by NAMCOR, which recently was farmed down to Chevron. And we hope either next year or 2027, a well will be drilled. That could be a game changer in this Walvis Basin. We see almost similar plays that are in the Orange Basin. We have mostly stratigraphically strapped sands, basin floor fans, and channelized system. They are all there, and mostly in the lower and upper Cretaceous section. This is in the Ludris Basin. It is located just north of the Orange Basin. It is very much underexplored, and we have only one well in the whole Ludris Basin. And similar petroleum system to the Orange Basin, untested deep water plays with significant resource potential. We think it will be very easy to explore in the Ludris Basin because all other plays that are in the Orange Basin we can find in the Ludris Basin. And it will be like a copy and paste and drill exercise. So it should not be very hard to make a discovery. We're not sure about how well developed these carbonate platforms are in the Ludris Basin. However, we have we have intercepted the part of this carbonate system in the Orange Basin. It wasn't that well developed. It was a bit, maybe about 5 meters. And below the carbonate system, we extracted some oil. So this is similar to the Cullinan prospect, which was drilled by Shell. And we also have basin floor fans somewhere which are exactly similar play types to the Venus system. And also a number of channelized canyon turbidite plays, which are similar to the ones that have been drilled by Gulp and Rhino, recent discoveries. So this is a summary of the play systems or concepts that are in the Orange Basin, but we see these throughout from Orange to the Orange, Ludris, and Wavis Basin. A number of them have already been tested, and they look, most of them have had discoveries, and there have been 33 exploration and appraisal wells that have been drilled, and this is the Venus discovery. And here Rhino drilled 3 wells. All of them have been discoveries for Sagittarius, Volans, and Capricornus wells. So we hope that these discoveries will proceed to appraisal and also through to development. And in the Kudu, although it is it was awarded as a production license, they have already submitted their field development concept to government. However, currently they are drilling an appraisal well, Karas 1, and this appraisal well is targeting 2 different play, one which is mostly similar to the Kudu type, which is the main target, and it is believed to be much bigger than the Kudu field itself. And then we have another one around, maybe I would say, Connection, which possibly could contain some oil. So we will see, because initially we thought all this area was mostly gas, but recently we have been seeing that we have some oil to condensate and sometimes rich gas reservoirs which have been discovered there in Pearl 85, an area where we thought it was completely gas. So this is very promising. So we look forward currently, the drill ship, when they finished drilling in Pearl 85, they went to another location to drill the Karas well, which is currently being drilled in the Kudu gas field. So a number of discoveries, and it is still pushing, and we are seeing more companies willing to risk capital to drill. We have a total now of 33 exploration and appraisal wells in the Orange Basin. Although the first well that was drilled, which was Kudu in 1974, was discovery, the only other oil discoveries that came was the Graf and Yonkaba Shell, and then now the Venus discovery, the Mpane discoveries, and the Pearl 85 discoveries that I spoke about. We expect Shell also to drill next year in Pearl 39. This may also be a game changer in that basin. Okay, this is onshore. Currently, there is a well which is being drilled by Recon Africa, which is Kavango West. And this is a bit different from what we know in offshore. So the source rock now, it will be the Otavi group carbonates and marine shells. These are thought to be self-sourcing carbonate systems. And also we have the Malden marine shells. So the traps are mostly structural and stratigraphic traps, although right now the well is targeting an anticlinal structure, which is in the contractual domain of that particular system. The seal, we have the Tume group shells and carbonate, and the Owabo formation shells, and the reservoir is the Otavi group carbonates and Malden carbonates and Nosip group sandstones. Now, if we go to the currently NAMCOR operated blocks, this is Pearl 79. This is one of the biggest blocks in Namibia, and we have there is two big prospects which have been mapped there, the Meerkat and Sistutunga. Most of them have about 2 billion barrel initially oil in place, which has been mapped. And we see that this block should be very attractive because on the eastern side we have Kudu gas field there, and southwestern side of the block we have the rhino discoveries happening in this block. So this is one of the best block that we have. We think there is both Cenomanian and Aptian source rock, which are matured in this particular block. Another block that we have is just north of the Orange Basin. This is where this line is where we have a division between the Orange Basin and the Ludres Basin. So this is immediately to the north of the Orange Basin. It's also closer to the recent discoveries which took place in the Pearl 83 for Gulf, and also closer to the closer to the Kudu gas field here. So this is one of the blocks where we see both the Cenomanian source rock and the Aptian source rock to be mature. And although the eastern part of the block, there is mainly a shelf, but when you go to the eastern part of the block, we have a well-developed system there where we have mapped a number of leads as shown there. And we see that we have now constrained the source rock to the east, and we have mapped it where it is overlapping on the shelf. And we see that in both these blocks that NAMCOR have, we have some marine-dominated facies which possibly contains both carrageen material type 1 and type 2, and also part of it which is indicated by yellow, we think it could be dominated by clastic terrestrial input material, which is mainly type 3 and type 4. So these are some of the opportunities that are still available in NAMCOR for farming. Okay, thank you. This is the summary. As you can see, this is a slide showing a line which is coming from the Orange Basin up to the Namibian Basin. We have shown that there is good, excellent reservoir quality and a working petroleum system, which is proven especially for the Walvis to the Orange Basin, and the prospectivity of Namibia continue to surprise us. Although it's complicated, we are slowly understanding how the system works. Thank you.